Hello, everyone. Welcome to my video. I am very excited to announce my Bible study series called God's Order of Purpose. By the end of this series, you should have a better understanding of God's order of purpose for you. But first, we need to look into God's strategic and deliberate order of purpose for all of his creations, starting at the very beginning, Genesis 1, where God lays out the nature of the earth we live in and see and how it is accomplished. I'm not talking about the worldly, man made things, but the natural things of God. Before we dive in, I'd like to show you a short clip from a TV show called Young Sheldon. I've never seen the show, so I'm not sure how the rest of the show relates to this or the Bible, but if it's worth watching, drop a comment below. However, I'm using it because I think it's inspiring and eye opening for anyone doubting a God created the universe. Let's take a look and then we will get started on the actual context of how God created it.
Did you know that if gravity were slightly more powerful, the universe would collapse into a ball?
I did not.
Also, if gravity were slightly less powerful, the universe would fly apart and there'd be no stars or planets.
Where are you going with this, Sheldon?
It's just that gravity is precisely as strong as it needs to be. And if the ratio of the electromagnetic force to the strong force wasn't 1%, life wouldn't exist. What are the odds that would happen all by itself?
Why are you trying to convince me to believe in God? You don't believe in God.
I don't, but the precision of the universe at least makes it logical to conclude there's a creator.
Baby, I appreciate what you're trying to do. But logic is here, and my problem is here.
What did you think about that? You may be just a kid, and that may just be a skit from a TV show. But those stats are real and have been proven. So most prevalent scientists believe in God. For example, Isaac Newton, who discovered the three laws of motion, the laws of gravity, and the principles of calculus. He also invented the first reflective telescope, discovering some of God's scientific wonders, but believing in a God at the same time. Someone who created it. A famous quote revealing this says, "I can take a telescope and look millions of miles into space, but I can go away into my room and in prayer get nearer to God and heaven than I can when assisted by all the telescopes of earth." There's also modern-day Francis Collins, who is known for discovering several genes that identify diseases, who said, "There are good reasons to believe in God, including the existence of mathematical principles and order of creation. They are positive reasons, based on knowledge, rather than default assumptions based on a temporary lack of knowledge." There are many extremely smart people who also believe in a creator or a God. But after watching the video, some of you are the mom in this video. My hope is that if you stick with me and stick to this series, you will have a better understanding of God and his order of purpose. Even more so, start thinking about God's order of purpose for you. Let's start on the actual context of the Bible and how it applies to God's order of purpose. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. We will deep dive into Genesis 1 by stopping and pausing here and there to help you understand the verses that have been said. Let's do it.
In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And God made the expanse, and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit in which is their seed, each according to its kind, on the earth." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their own kinds, and trees bearing fruit in which is their seed, each according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the heavens." So God created the great sea creatures, and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock and creeping things, and beasts of the earth according to their kinds."
And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day.
Let's discuss the contents of what we just heard and saw. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. Let's break this part down first before we move on. Just like most formal writing, God had Moses write an introductory sentence to this chapter, with the first sentence prompting what the chapter will be about in its vaguest terms. Next, he uses descriptive language to describe what the earth was like in the beginning, using words like the earth was without form, void, darkness, face, and deep. Without form and void can easily describe a sheet of ice, because those two words describe them well. Think about a frozen lake. It's without form, just flat and void of any life. Darkness over the face of the deep means there was no light or heat yet. And then the next verse says, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters, confirms this, because ice is the face of the waters, being that, like a frozen lake, the ice is all you see with liquid hidden underneath it, especially if light has not been introduced to it yet. The next verse, verse 3 says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. Now we have light. It's God's base and underpaint to his masterpiece, with each layer having its purpose. The frozen ice is without form and void was his blank canvas. In verse 6, we start to see what this light starts doing and its purpose. It says, and God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. What does it mean by waters? Very simple: ice, liquid, and gas, H2O. What does light and heat do to ice and liquid? It expands its molecules, creating space. Or in other words, thermal expansion. God's light heated up the ice into liquid and liquid into vapor, which separates these different kinds of waters into a new form. It separates the waters from the waters, expanding its molecules in the midst of the waters, creating space. This is why there is space usually between the clouds, water vapor, and the liquid and ice. Verse 7 confirms this by saying, and God made the expanse and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening and there was morning the second day. As light continued fulfilling its purpose, it revealed dry land and gathered the liquid into lowest lying areas, and God called it seas. And God took a good look at the progress of his masterpiece and saw that it was good. Next, God introduces vegetation into this masterpiece. This whole time, this new life cycle of water was creating good soil for these plants, yielding seed and fruit trees bearing fruits. This happened on the third day. Next, God creates a permanent set of light for the earth, the sun and the moon in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day and night, be for signs and seasons, days and years, and light upon the earth. This was the fourth day. Now that we have cycles of light, water, good soil, and vegetation, he can introduce things that thrive and live off of these things, starting with sea creatures and birds. Birds help pollinate, multiply, and spread seeds. Sea creatures do the same for water plants. This was the progress of the fifth day. Next, we will see everything come together in one more final day of work to complete his masterpiece and finish his order of purpose for us. Yes, all of this was done for us. Before making man, God made the rest of wildlife and living things so that we may reap the benefits of all that came before us, giving us dominion over the fish of the seas, birds of the heavens, livestock, earth, and creeping things that creeps the earth. He also created us in his image, blessing us with all these things in hopes of us being fruitful, multiplying, subduing the earth, and having dominion over it. He took one more look at his creation, calling it very good, which finished out his work in order of purpose for the earth, before Eve ruined it for us, and that's another story. But after this creation, he took a day to rest and made it holy. This should help you put the strategic and deliberate order of purpose of God into perspective. Because in the next video, we will go over God's order of purpose for us, tying the strategic order and some of the items he created as symbols to help visualize his order of purpose for us. I'll be backing this interpretation with scripture to ensure it follows God's will for us and his disciples according to his word, which is God, by the way. If you want God to know you, you have to know him. And that starts with his light. Word. I don't mean to get ahead of myself there, but don't forget to like and follow to help this page get more seen. I'd love to see and hear what your commentary is on this comment section below. And thank you for listening.